CC, CEO, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a goal builder that could teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black on firm, but we ain't all black.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Constance Carter, and I'm so excited to have you all here today, especially about this topic that we're going to be talking about today. Listen, we have an exciting new program that we're going to be coming on every week to talk to you about different things. It's a panel of women that are going to be discussing topics that really relate to you, and we're going to be talking about things that can really change your life, change your mindset, and try to figure out ways and solutions to where we can help the community. We have a panel of women that broad in age range from 20s to the 70s and everywhere in between. And so we have I'm really excited about it. I'm going to bring on each one of our guests. I'm going to bring on first April Sampay. April, hey April, hey girl, hey. So she is an entertainer, she is a realtor, and she has a lot of great opinions. That's all she got. So, thank you, April. That's all she said. Miss Emma didn't give me her bio, but Miss Emma Fraser is a Harvard PhD. She has a wealth of knowledge, and she is a wordsmith. And I'm excited to have her here because I think she has a great perspective on life, on social activation, and all things that we're going to be discussing. So that's Miss Emma. And then last but not least, Miss Kyle Carter, who is actually my daughter, and she is you're a Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Recent graduate of Hampton University, marketing major, but she has a great and unique perspective as well. So ladies, look, today we're going to talk about these white tears. But before we get started, I want to challenge everybody. I want to encourage everybody to mute yourself. I want to encourage everyone to subscribe to the Fly to Be a Queen, to subscribe to Constance Carter. Make sure you follow all of us on our respective social medias. And also, we know we have people that watch from all over the world. So I see Miss Faye is chiming in from SXM, which is also St. Martin. But where's everybody else from? I know we have people that watch from across the pond in Europe. Some people watch in China. Some people watch in Africa, California, Chicago. So put in the comments box because we want to shout you out. And as always, this is a dialogue and not a monologue. So we want to hear back from you. We want you to talk back to us, talk black to us. So what we were talking about, we were kind of having a discussion. The four of us were having a discussion, and there's been so much incarceration of African-American men. And I don't know if you guys have seen the news lately, but the author of the Lovely Bones book, which went on to become a movie, she falsely accused a black man of raping her. The black man was wrongly convicted, and he was recently exonerated. And she did a little apology. She did a little white tear apology. And so we kind of wanted to have a discussion around black men or black people being falsely accused in general. But here's the video that we were kind of discussing.
Tuesday, she issued a public apology to Broadwater in which she acknowledged he had been wrongly accused. I am sorry most of all for the fact that the life you could have led was unjustly robbed from you. And I know that no apology can change what happened to you and never will.
What do you think of that apology?
If it's sincerely from my heart, I can accept it.
We black people, we are the most forgivingest people in the world. We are quick to forgive our oppressors. We're quick to forgive people who have wronged us. Ladies, what do you think? Do you think that she should now be convicted because she wrongly convicted or accused him and he spent all that time in prison? What do you
think? Why? You should go for the same amount of time that I was there. 100%. Bye. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Goodbye.
Wait. Did she do it because she honestly thought he did it, or was she lying deliberately? We have to look at her intent. Did she make an honest mistake? Because you know what they say about us, all black people look alike. So what she apologized, but what was her intent that we could, if we want her convicted, April?
You know what? Good point. If she mistaken it.
But listen, there have been so many times where white people have convicted white women, especially, and there was a epidemic. I think there was over 4,000 lynchings between, after Reconstruction to like 1965 or something, and a lot of them were due to white tears. You have, what did you have? Wait, let me go. What's that? Oh, I guess maybe I didn't put. But look at Emmett Till. Look at Emmett Till. Emmett Till. What's her name? Carolyn Bryant Dunham. She accused him of whistling at her, and he was murdered. And she later admitted that she lied. So, and because she was in her 90s, nothing happened to that lady. Should something have happened to a lady, even though she was in her 90s?
Yes.
Jail.
100%.
Why?
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. Maybe, and I'm just gonna be as blunt as possible. Maybe not necessarily in her 90s, because I mean, really, what is she gonna learn?
She need to rot in prison until she dies.
but I'm just saying, like, a life was lost. You know what I mean? And a life was lost over something so, like,
minuscule,
ma'am,
small.
Like, what in the world? You said that this man whistled at you, and he lost his life for that.
And not only lost his life, but was brutally murdered.
Brutally murdered.
The dangerous nerve to whistle at a white woman. But look at this. These girls, they knowingly accused these black boys. In 1931, 9 teenage black boys, all these boys were falsely accused of rape by 2 white women while riding a train. Ruby Bates, 17, and Victoria Prince, 21, said the boys came up on them and started a fight with several white men riding in the same car and ended up raping them. And they did not do it. They were falsely accused. And again, they were beaten and they were hanged. And here's the thing I have, people say, oh, that's the past. That was a long time ago. That's the history of white racism in America. But the reality is this stuff happens to this day. You have this football player. Let me go to this one where she said 2 football players were accused of raping her. But in actuality, she had sex with these 2 boys, and then she got scared because she didn't want anybody to think bad of her. So she accused them of raping her.
Mm-hmm. So it's okay that you are going to have all of that negativity happen to you, but I don't want people to look at me strange. I don't want people to think badly of me. So you lose your life because I don't want to be embarrassed.
But the thing about it, you guys, is they blame black people. Why? Because they can. Black people, especially black men, are an easy target. Think about this. And after Reconstruction, after when slavery was over, now we have the 13th Amendment. Slavery is now outlawed except for in prisons. So they have to figure out a way to find free labor. So then they started having these black codes. What are black codes? These are ways to imprison black people for no reason at all. Let's get them for loitering. Let's give them life of hard labor because they were hanging out in front of the store. Things like that. So black people have been, black men especially, have been mass incarcerated. And so it's easy. Hey, listen, I want to kill my kids. Let me say a black man did it, and we're going to go and racially profile every black man. And this is in the 2020s that this is happening.
Well, and so, but Constance, you're hitting the root of the problem. This is systemic hatred of black people. And the Civil War might have freed us physically, but it didn't free us emotionally from the anger that the Southerners had, that they now had nobody to pick their cotton. Right. And so while black men have been imprisoned during slavery, white women were sexually abused. Mm-hmm. That is how we got to be this color.
Mhm.
That is how we got to be this. Somewhere in my history, my mother's from the South, something happened.
Right.
You cannot show up this color without being mixed with some white stuff.
Right. Absolutely. But
It's impossible.
here's the thing that I have a problem with. All of the atrocities that have happened to us, somehow they are the victims. We are the bad guys. We are the ones to be feared, but we aren't the ones serial killing. We aren't the ones committing genocide, but yet we are the ones to be feared. We're the ones incarcerated in mass numbers. All of these things happen to us. Why? Because number one, power, right? Number two, they need a scapegoat. But what were you going to say, Emma?
But I was going to say, if you look at other countries, the history of countries is they always find someone low on the totem pole that's part of that country, and they persecute them and they kill them. It happens in Poland. It happened in Armenia, because these people, everybody wants somebody to look down on, to enslave, and to how Hitler got the Germans to do that. He made the Jews a common enemy. When you band people together by a common enemy, you get mob violence. So we are the result of hundreds of years of mob violence. Hate the Black people. They're the reason. Now the immigrants are getting it. They're taking our jobs. Think about that. There's always a low minority on the totem pole that
they're getting a lot more than we're getting. I mean, if you really think about it, they're getting I'm just saying, people are coming into the country receiving things that we have to work for.
I don't think you could compare an immigrant to an enslaved people who were brought here against their will. I don't think that they're getting. They talk about they're taking our jobs. You want to pick grapes? Let's be real. Nobody making his pockets.
I was about to say that. I was about to say,
you want somebody to look down on, and he'll give everything he has.
I was about to say, because I remember growing up, you did tell me something like that. You told me something like how does it was a systemic thing that's why certain white populations hate each other. Irish think that they're better than another population because of it's a systemic thing. They're trying to that hatred is taught.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, so when slavery first happened, right, in the 1600s, you had the Irish that were also slaves, and the Irish will be the quick to tell you, we were slaves too, right? But they weren't slaves like we were. They weren't lifetime slaves. But what they did is they had a hierarchy. So they didn't have, so you had your British, but you had and how do we separate the Africans from the Irish? Well, we make the Irish the overseers, and we make them think that they're a little bit better. Servants. Yeah, then we make them think that they're a little bit better, and then that's how we continue to stay in power. Because really, at the end of the day, it's all about power. We out here fighting about race. It's all about power. But how do
money.
we
and
money?
Money,
power. But let me ask you, Dr. Emma.
If you change I think one of the things that can happen, because I remember we were talking about solutions, right? And we talk about money. And I think it's kind of who is in control of the money. And if you create your own money, meaning if you start your own company and say, you know what, I'm going to barter the way that we did back in the day, then there's a solution for you right there, because then you have your own power and you don't need somebody else to tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You don't need to use their money. You pretty much create your own way of using money, or your own type of money. And
you think about that too, because money is power, and then you think about collective economics, right? So the reason why we don't have power as a people is because we don't practice collective economics. There is power in numbers. There is power in community, right? So what you're saying in terms of us being the lender, not the borrower, us being the people who are in charge. Yeah, when you look at when you look at in the 1930s, when you had our Black towns, when they practiced collective economics, when the dollar stayed in our community a year before leaving our communities, right? And so it's in the most close-knit communities, the dollar don't stay a year. The Jewish community, which is one of the most close-knit communities, they get 30 days in their community. Now we get 6 hours. But when we had community, when we were intentional about practicing collective economics, you seen the dollar circulate a lot longer. What happened, what destroyed Black Wall Street, do you guys know what destroyed Black Wall Street finally?
It's the jealousy of what those people had, and they had built a community.
So afterwards, so they rebuilt Black Wall Street. And so now they went from 600 businesses to 300 businesses. Integration. When Black people did not have to do business with Black people, we did not do business with Black people. And therefore, Black Wall Street and other communities like this were gone. So we want to do business with people who spit in our food, who didn't treat us right, who didn't want us at our restaurants, because they food with the spit in it tastes a lot better than ours, because we were brainwashed into that thinking. But there is power in numbers, Black people, just like you said, April, just like you said, we have to be the ones that have the power. But how do we get the power?
Well, exactly. Oh, I'm sorry, but exactly that. Like, I keep seeing videos of people saying, okay, let's all get together. We're not going to shop at this particular place, or we're not going to do. Yo, our money can go so much longer than we're giving it credit. Mm-hmm. And we are a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit. And I'm sorry to say this, we as people of color are victims more so, in our heads. We allow ourselves to be victims in our heads. And so when we change our mindset and say, hold on, pause, my money spends just like anybody else's money. And if I choose not to spend here, I can make that much of a difference. We can change the way, and let's just think about it, because we were talking about it the other day about and I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but we talk about like hair care and things of that nature. As you all see, I don't have any, but if we all decided to use hair care that was made by our own people, our hair care, hair care would definitely change. If we notice right now, hair care products are giving us cancer. Hair care products are giving us alopecia. Hair care products are giving us this, that, and the third. Yet we're still putting our money in those same hair care products that are destroying us. Why aren't we making a difference, making our own things and selling to our own people, and our people actually putting money in our pockets?
But Constance,
yes,
April, you make a point. I didn't want to go there, but you opened up
Come on, honey. The floodgates are open.
The worst kind of racism is when you can get a race to turn on itself. That's what has happened to us as Black people. We believe it. There are many of us who believe that we can't do what they do, that it's good that somebody's in charge, because I don't want to deal with black entrepreneurs because they charge too much money. They don't have all the products that Amazon has or whatever. So we believe it. And so we have turned on each other with ethnic conflict that was instilled in us. And the first of it, because I was born in that time and look like this, is the color divide. And who's accepted? When I was coming along, the lighter you were, the better you were. The expression was, if you're light, you're right. If you're Black, stay back. Now I'm Black, but the color, and my friends used to say to me in high school, you got good hair. They thought their hair was not good. Who taught them that? And now I'm going to bring this up. There is no television show that you can watch where Black women are not wearing long wigs, because that was the standard, long flowing hair.
Yeah, that is so true. Like, even growing up, like I remember with me growing up, we used to, like with the Cheetah Girls, for example, everybody wanted to be the one with the curly hair, the light skinned one. No one wanted to be Raven or the dark skinned one, because the beauty standard was the curly hair, who was foreign, speak another language, like half Black. That was like the beauty standard growing up. So it took to like me being more educated and like doing more things, even going to a HBCU, like it made me realize, like, I go to a place, everybody wear their natural hair. I'm from California. no Black person you see really be wearing their natural hair like that. Instead, until you go to an HBCU and you really see what your standard of beauty really is. But it's just how we've been taught. We've been taught that our standard of beauty is like, you know, wigs, straight hair, all that type of stuff.
Who's the one teaching? So that's where my frustration
TV and
lies.
all that type of media.
You watch TV, you watch social media, you look in school books. I said school books. You know, like this is put in your brain from day one. And so again, going back to, well, what is the solution? The solution is to teach your children, because you got to start when they're babies. That's what they're doing with us. I mean, think about it. To your point, you were a child when you were watching Cheetah Girls. You know what I mean? You're watching Cheetah Girls thinking to yourself, I want to be this because this is the one who's beautiful. No, teach your baby you are gorgeous from day one. I didn't want, when I was a kid, I was like, Ma, I need you to press my hair. And in my day, you would press your hair with a hot comb that was literally on a stove. So you would leave your house with burns on your forehead and in the kitchen area. We all know
in the ear.
And the ear. Please don't forget the ear. You would be all burnt up, but you're like, but I'm gorgeous. Why? My hair grows up. And I look at it from this perspective. My hair grows up to be closer to God. My hair grows up because I'm getting downloads from higher up and not down below. You know what I mean? I'm not going to cover up what I got. What I got is amazing. So I stopped putting in relaxers a long time ago when I had a huge afro. I decided to put a relaxer in my hair. And when I did it, I hated who I was. I cut it all off. And I was like, oh, I like this. Like this is my new look. But it took me being fake or changing something about myself. And I don't have any problem with anybody who puts a relaxer in their hair or anybody who straightens it. That's your business. But for me, I didn't like the person that I was. I didn't like the person I saw in the mirror. So I'm like, we have to start loving the person that we see in the mirror, who we started off as. It's like Michael Jackson said, talking about, let's start with the man in the mirror. Well, the man in the mirror who Michael Jackson started off as is not the one who he ended up as. He started off as a Black man, ended up as a white woman.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what we need to start doing is really focus on telling our children and teaching our children, you are enough. You're more than enough. You are the one. You are a king. You are a queen. And you are worthy of being anything that you want to be. So I'm gonna get off my.
Well, also to teach kids stop being mean, because I mean, growing up, my mom has always been telling me positive affirmations about myself, but just in the school that I grew up in, like it made me it like being like the only Black kid, like it just made me think that my hair or whatever was not, you know, what was foreign, was different, like made me feel like I'm different. People were just so mean about it. And so it's just like also teaching your kids stop being so mean and more open-minded.
You remember how when you're a kid, how they say, well, the little boys hit you, they only hit you because they like you.
Because they like you, yeah.
That gets you accustomed to abuse.
Well, no, it does. I'm not definitely not. What I'm saying is you got a point. But oftentimes when you meet those bullies and you know those people who are mean to you, they're mean to you because you have something that they don't, or you have something that they want. And so no, we don't go to and tell our kids, you know, they only hit you because they like you. No, but making sure that your child understands, honey, sometimes they're just jealous. And that's just reality. I mean, every day we walk down the street and somebody's like, she thinks she all that. No, you think I'm all that. And that's the reason why those words came out of your head. I am all that, so, period.
But here's the but April, I want to back up what you said.
Come on.
What are the two major plastic surgeries that have hit the market in the last 15 years?
Ooh,
boobies, a BBL,
big boobies,
implant,
and boobies,
and boobies, and lips,
and lips.
That's
all
true.
the things they criticized us for. So you're right. They wanted it. They enslaved us They couldn't get it that way, but now in the 21st century, you can go and have a black woman's butt.
Oh, did you see the play?
Brazil.
Ooh.
Here is the issue, because it goes back to getting us trying to figure out what is the issue, right? So statistically, there's some statistics that I think what the National Registry of Exonerations, is that what we were reading about Black incarceration? I think, Emma, you had something, right?
Okay, so we're going to talk about convictions, which is how we started. And it's true to form. If you ask African Americans, it is hard to stay on the topic because there are so many infractions. Okay, so this report was by the National Registry for Exonerations. In the United States, more than 380 exonerations have happened due to wrongful convictions of African American men. These convictions go into 3 categories. It's rape, it's murder, and it's drugs. That's how we wind up in jail. One of the biggest areas is misrecognition of who did the crime. And it goes back to what I said, that to many people, we all look alike. We all look alike. So if anybody attacked you, it is easy to point out a black man. And it could have been a black man, but not the one that you pointed out. You picked the first one that was available.
Yeah, but see, I think historically, though, and I understand you're trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, but there is implicit bias. You look in the law enforcement field.
Mm-hmm.
I was in this thing called leadership. It was a leadership Stockton. I used to live in Stockton, so I was in the leadership program, and a lot of the police officers had to go through leadership Stockton, I guess, if they wanted to get promotions or something like that. But just seeing the attitude and the mentality of these police officers, they had no redemption. They looked at everybody as they were criminals. I remember this one guy, he was like, my wife is a probation officer. She wants to give people second chances. They're slime, they're scum, they're this, they're that. They think that automatically because they're used to dealing with criminals, right? But then they want to paint everybody with a broad brush. So there's this implicit bias about not having the same value. Black people not having the same value as they do. They give other people the benefit of the doubt that they don't give us. So yeah, I can see on one hand you say, well, they think all black people look alike. No, there is an implicit bias in the criminal justice field. In medical, you take a black man and a white man with the exact same symptoms, they're going to be treated 2 totally different ways based upon this and only this. The only thing that's different is this. This is implicit bias that's integrated in the system that we are all under. So the question is, we know these things happen, but how do we solve them? I think we have to educate our people on this, this happening, because people need to know, we need to know our rights. If we walk into a store, somebody said in the comments, we're the ones that get followed. We're getting followed while these white people is wiping them out. But they ain't following the black person. That's what they get. But this is what always happens. And so we're convicted more than anybody else. We're 13% of the population. We're 50% of the prison population, and 80% of convictions. We're more likely to be 80% of people convicted of murder are more likely to be innocent than our white counterparts.
That's right.
So we don't commit more crimes. We just get convicted more, and then we're criminalized more.
And the level of the sentencing for black people is usually higher than if a white person appeared and did the same thing.
Well, okay, so to your point, crack and coke.
Right.
Yeah.
So, let's just be real. Same drug with a little bit of extras in it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So crack versus coke. So if you do, because crack is is supposedly a black drug, you're going to get way more time. If you do coke, it's like, oh, this is a slap on the wrist. It's unacceptable. And I also wanted to point out, so there was this video I was watching on the social media about this firefighter. I don't know if you all saw it. He was a lot older, and he confessed that he went back in his heyday, used to let a lot of Black people die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody was saying it. Like, I looked in the comments. You'll think a police officer, you'll think a judge, but you never think a firefighter. You even think a doctor, but not a firefighter.
It's everybody's against us. Everybody's against us.
And he was like,
and he was saying it's not just him. All his buddies in the fire department, they would, if a building was burning and there was Black people in it, they would act like, yeah, we're gonna go save them.
Oh, we couldn't get to them.
We couldn't get to them. And
So
they would let them burn, and they would hear. So now he's
Hear them
tormented
screaming.
because he heard the baby screaming that he allowed to die. But you got to remember, this goes back to the beginning of this country when they used Black children as gator bait. You remember that they use Black children as alligator bait. Do you remember the story of Mary Turner? You remember the story of Mary Turner? So Mary Turner and her husband, they accused her husband of doing something. I can't remember what they accused her husband of, but they were coming after her husband, and she spoke up. She said, "Don't touch my husband." She said something. She spoke up for her husband. Mary Turner was 8 months pregnant. Yeah. So they hung her.
And cut her baby out.
They cut her baby out and they stomped the baby. And they heard the baby crying when they stomped the baby. Yeah. So they try to act like we're the animals and the things that they've done to Black people.
Well, and I'll just say, well, you know what? I'll say the things that have been done to people. And the reason I say that, well, no. I'm saying this in a way of, if you look at just about any country that has indigenous people, if they're okay. I mean, if you go to different countries all over the world, the colonizers have done roughly the same thing.
But you think about this, in all of those countries, the people who are on the bottom of the totem pole are normally people who look like us, who have African and are melanated. Most of the people, you go in South America, the people who are on the lowest of the totem pole that are impoverished the most are going to be the Black people, except for in areas in Europe. But a lot of places that have been colonized by Europe. Now, if you talk about the war in Israel and all that stuff, that's something that's totally different. But you see, there's a war going on in Congo. There's genocide going on in Congo, but nobody's saying anything about it. Our lives don't matter like their lives do.
I want to know.
But Constance, I want. How do we answer the question that you so aptly started at the beginning?
What do we
do? And we tried, because it is not all of another race that do this. There is a percentage, but there are decent people in every race that don't do this.
Of course.
But what can, just in case somebody's listening to think that we are giving a mass indictment the same way that we have had a mass indictment because we're Black, we're not doing that. But my question is, what suggestions can we give?
Money.
April said meditation.
No, money.
I said, money?
Money.
You mean, how do you mean that?
Change the way you spend your money. Money is everything. Like, one of the reasons that you see a lot of things happening now in this world is due to money. Everything is money related. You stop somebody who's normally making $1 million a minute from making $1 million a minute, they're going to change. And if we're the ones who are making or giving them their $1 million a minute, it's going to change. So
listen,
we need to change.
Listen,
but here's where our dollar goes.
You are right. You are right about money and all of those things. But the reality is, I have three.
That's the reality.
The reality is, I have 3 Black sons that have to go out in this world, who have to face the police, the criminal justice system. I've taught my boys a certain way to conduct themselves in public. But the reality is, when they come up against the police, there is an implicit bias. Just 3 months ago, my son calls me and he's like, "Mom, I just got pulled over. Don't know what happened. Maybe I didn't do my turn signal or whatever. I don't know what happened, but I got pulled over. So I said, okay. So he and I are talking. I said, well, keep me on the phone, put me on FaceTime so I can see what's going on. So we're sitting on the phone, just sitting there talking, chopping it up. And all of a sudden I hear a bang on his window and the police starts yelling at him. And my son's like, what did I do? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did I do? I'm sorry. He's yelling and screaming for his life, begging the police to please not shoot him. This police has a gun to his head. When you talk about implicit bias, and I began recording. Now I'm on the phone. My son is in Virginia. I'm in California. I can do nothing. And this is what's going on with my son. My son is scared to death. He's 19 years old. He's on the dean's list at Hampton University. He's driving a black Lexus, and this police has a gun to my son's head. The hell am I supposed to do? This is implicit bias. And this is a black police officer, y'all. Some African guy. It's a black police officer.
How did he get free from that situation, Constance? How did it end?
This man tried to find every excuse. Oh, well, you were speeding. I wasn't speeding. Well, you didn't pull over soon enough. I was looking for a safe place to pull over. At the end of the day, when he found out that he was just a 19-year-old kid, and at the end he said, "Well, I didn't know if this car was stolen," which was really why he pulled him over. But all he had to do was check the license plate. I didn't know if this car was stolen. It wasn't stolen. You seen a young black brother with some dreadlocks, and you decided to racially profile him. So the problem I have is when I put
the thing is that I have a problem with is because you talked about solutions. It's like I feel like the solution starts in the home. Other races see how we treat each other, so that's how we treat us. We didn't mention that the cop that pulled over my brother was a black man. Mm-hmm. He was an African man at that. Like, people feel so comfortable treating us because we treat each other the same way.
Listen to our music.
I was just about to go there. To your point, yes. Listen to the music. Listen to what we say to each other. Listen to how we interact with each other. Our terms of endearment, which I'm sorry, I'm the worst one. I know I am. But our terms of endearment are, if somebody on the outside looking in, it's like, oh my God, did she just curse that person out? No, I just said I love you. Like, I literally just told my friend how much I love her. So
when we talk about we're selling drugs, when we talk about we are doing the music, we're such a small part of the grand scheme of things, though. It's money, no, I understand it's money. But it's also something that a setup that's systemically designed to destroy our people. Think about 1955 when J. Edgar Hoover said the biggest threat to America was Negro unity, was Black unity. Anything they can do to destroy
the black man out of the home, which he did.
He took the black man out of the home. Then you have an uprising of Black empowerment where, look at the Black Panthers, they were just feeding babies. And they were basically trying to stop police brutality in their neighborhoods across the country. And they labeled them as militant, as anti-government, trying to overthrow the government. They threw crack into our communities. They murder our leaders. Now, today, they don't got to do that anymore. Then we still have drugs in our community. But then when it started crossing over to the other tracks, then the war on drugs became now we got to treat these drug addicts. But then you have the music. Now, I'm saying that the Black people, yes, we are the ones that are spewing it, right? And our kids are the ones listening to it, and then also following the instructions of what they're saying in this music. They're the ones that are, out there killing each other based upon this autobiography that these people are saying, that we know that's not reality. We know in real life Rick Ross ain't really killing nobody, but these young Black kids who are impressionable are taking up the mantle. The problem is, it's not even the rappers. They don't even know what they're doing because it's it's the white people behind the black curtain that are pulling the strings, that are putting the money behind the Rick Rosses to make sure this poison goes out into the masses. You have plenty of positive rappers. You have plenty of positive people.
Rick Ross
they won't put the money. Hold on. They won't put the money in these positive rappers because they don't want to change the mindset of the Black people.
But hold on, no. So to your point, and that is 100% accurate. I used to work at radio stations back when I was in the DMV 500 years ago. And one thing that I will say is that I have actually been in the rooms when I've heard people say, we can't play this particular song because it's too positive. No one's going to want to listen to it. The lie detector determined that's a lie. Everybody, we would rather hear positive, more uplifting songs. Nobody wants their vibrations to be lowered, but yet that's what there's constantly pushing. Now, if your dollars would show otherwise, and we would get the strength back to control our own minds. Because see, this is what I hear on a regular basis. I hate when people say, well, I can't help it. This is just who I am. I'm an angry person. I'm mad because of what's going on in the world. I can't help it. That's just who I am. No, you're the only one that can help it. You're the only one who has control over who you are. And you're the only one who has control over what you listen to. You stop listening to that crap, I assure you it will stop being played and money will stop being made.
Well, I want to go to the root of that.
Money.
Have we thought all of this language and how they refer to us as women and what they're going to do in the street and hoes and all of that? Did you ever think that it's a reverse? They are so angry as Black people, as Black young people, they can't come out and say it to the perpetrator, so they say it to each other. It's a subliminal release of what is happening on the inside. I have two sons. One looks like me and one looks Hispanic. Those two boys were treated entirely different. Entirely different when they left our house. I remember my oldest son, he worked for sanitation. They had a party. He had too much to drink. He's leaving the depot where he works, and he hooks his truck up to a police car. They get out. He shows them his sanitation badge. He looks like me. They bring him home. I opened the door. They said, you really need to tell your son not to drink like that. And then my husband came downstairs, who's brown, and you should have saw the look on that policeman's face. David, on the other hand, was standing on the corner, getting ready to go in the bank for a job interview. There was a guy standing there with him. A police car pulled up, and the guy dropped the bag and ran, and they locked my son up for drug possession. He said, here's my resume. And they told him that he had to show up in court for this drug bust. You know what my son did? He ran away. We were crazy. We said, David, we'll go with you. We'll get her. He said, I'm not doing it, Mom. I'm not going to court. We were more upset because he wouldn't agree to go to court. The phone rings about 11 or 12 o'clock. You're supposed to be in court at 9. I said, oh my God, they're going to put out all points. They said, oh, he doesn't have to show up. It was a mistake.
Oh, wow.
But my son, all because of his color. All because of his color. So they know the world differently.
Right.
They know it differently because of the
and our lives are potentially, our Black men, women's lives are potentially ruined because of how other people look at us, but then also how we look at ourselves. We are promoting, I believe that a lot of these rappers and a lot of these people who are spewing this negativity, this poison into our community, because I believe it's just as bad as them selling drugs to the community, the poison of the mind. Just like you said, April, about the low vibrational music that comes out, it really does change your mindset. It really does. So when I remember when I was a youngster and they were talking about, we're going to go do some dirt and we're going to go do a drive-by. They're not listening to Kirk Franklin while they're doing it. They listening to some music that's going to get them in the mood to do it. Right. Music is the most powerful art form there is. And that's the reason why when you're at church, they're playing a certain kind of music because it's ushering in the Holy Spirit. When you're in the club, they playing a certain kind of music. You're not going twerk to, to no
how great thou art.
Yeah, you're not going to twerk to how great thou art.
Some people do.
Some people be twerking. Has anybody seen the movie They Clone Tyrone?
I didn't get a chance to finish watching it.
You watch the whole movie, okay? because everything that you're saying is. Have you seen it, Kyle? Okay, so everybody all the viewers, if you've watched They Clone Tyrone, put a heart in the comments. Just in general, when you see that movie, you'll understand. I feel that movie is probably the most accurate movie out there, and I don't want to tell for the people who haven't seen it, but music does change your vibrations. And you know that because if you're driving down the street and all of a sudden the song comes on, you just like your whole energy changes. You want to go slap somebody. And if somebody pisses you off,
Keela's had a song, I hate you so much right now. You're not playing that when you happy. You playing that when you're pissed off. You want to somebody up. I hate you so much right now. Absolutely. So for people to not take responsibility and act like music is just like a movie, it's not, because you're acting like this is stuff that you're out there doing. You're murdering your brothers. You're raping women. You're calling women hoes and bitches and these women. Oh my God, let's not even talk about sex.
They believe that. But there is a famous expression about music, that music soothes the savage beast. It means that anger that is in us, that emotion, you hear the right song, it calms you down. Mm-hmm. It really does calm you down.
Yeah.
But if the music is made to incite you to riot, to stir up your anger, to stir up a hatred for anybody, then it's dangerous.
100%. But if you add one more piece to it, so I'm sorry, Constance, you were going to say something because I was going to go back to the movie.
No, go ahead.
Music, also what you put in your body. So music is something you put in your body from your ears. What do you put in through your mouth? When you eat low vibrational food, you become a low vibrational being.
So come on, Coach Stormy.
It's so 100% true. Like if you'll meet people who are just always angry. Look at what they eat on a regular basis. They are like number one at McDonald's every single day, making sure they get whatever it is they need to get, or they at Burger King, Popeyes, getting a 2-piece, 3-piece, whatever. And I'm like, you're always angry because the food that you eat is angry.
So let's get back. Exactly. Let's get back, because you know what, Angie is right. She said, "Okay, yes, music, but what does it have to do with white lies?" Back on track. You're right, Angie.
Come through, Angie.
But no, it actually does have to do with it, because the first thing that we have to do, so we know historically what's happening within our society. We know that laws are set up against us. Period. We know about black codes, the things that have happened since we've been in this country. We know that it's set up against us. We have to start looking internally. And that's why we're talking about the music. We got to hold up the mirror to ourselves, and we got to start making some internal changes, and we got to get power. April said the solution is money. Emma, you said the solution is what?
I think it's self-reflection. I think if we look at ourselves and value ourselves and build ourselves up in our community, that we can have an impact. And that begins with knowing your history, understanding your history. If you don't know it, you're doomed to let it happen again. And so and when I went to school, we had a distorted vision of who we were. The only picture in my history book was of some Africans with their chests exposed. I was so embarrassed. That's what I knew about. I was so none of the great stuff, just that we were primitive people.
Listen, when I was in school, you were probably in school 100 years ago. I was in school 70 years ago. So I'm right behind you. The only thing I knew about us is that we were enslaved and that we were oppressed. We were African booty scratchers. I knew that. It wasn't until I got out of high school and with the power of the internet that I learned that we were so much more than that. But you're right. You learn about the jungle. And in movies, Tarzan ain't even black, and he's the king of the jungle. How is that? Well, I didn't know about Mansa Musa, who was the richest man who ever lived, who happened to be from Africa. I didn't know about Shaka Zulu until they started having the series on television every year. But I didn't know about that because that's not what they taught in school. So we have to educate ourselves. But here's the thing: with the power of the internet, we have access to all of that. There's no more excuses.
But you gotta want to look that up.
Yeah.
You So in the colleges now, they all have Black history courses.
Yeah.
My first Black history was taught by a Black professor. And it was very enlightening. So our ignorance is without excuse now.
Ooh.
It is without excuse.
Our ignorance is without excuse, because before, especially in the generations that came before us, they took books away from us. They didn't allow us to read. They say if you want to keep something from a Black person, put it in a book. Well, that's because they would not allow us to read. So that's why you took the books away from us. But now we have access to more than just books. We have access to the worldwide information that's out there. What were we going to say, April?
I still believe that that's actually still what's happening, because now, if you notice, they're changing our attention span.
Sound bites.
Everything is a sound bite. So, 15 seconds is the attention span of the average.
We have our attention span is less than that of a goldfish.
That is unacceptable. So, when you say, well, put stuff in books now, no, don't put it in a book now. Where are you going to put it?
You gotta put it in a soundbite. You gotta put it in TikTok.
You have to put it in a quick TikTok, and 9 times out of 10, that's fake news. So I'm just saying, that's another solution. Literally going back to physical books, not something that's on your phone that could be changed at any second. Go to an actual book. Go to books that were written in your past, and you know what I mean, so that you get a chance to see what words they were using back in those days. So you get an understanding of why things might be changed now, like the meaning of certain words. That's one of the things that I always do now, is I go back and I look at books that were written before the 1900s.
Oh, Jane, you don't know anything. So Constance, April, you talked about sound bites, and Constance, so what you're really saying is they're unsound bites. Ooh. They're not sound.
I love it. Bars. But listen, let me go back really quick to just the history of the violence against Black men that were wrongly convicted, because it happened so much, and it still happens to this day. But look, I was looking up some some articles, and it happens more than.
We have to put out a shout to the Innocence Project,
right?
That's the project that is behind a lot of these exonerations. Because even once the DNA says it wasn't you, there is a process to get out.
Yes,
listen.
53% of the people that were exonerated were Black. 53%. Of the wrongly convicted, exonerated were Black. We are being prosecuted at levels beyond anybody else. We're not committing more crimes. We're just being convicted more.
Well, Constance, I got an update on that. It's nearly, it says because I downloaded an article about the Innocence Project. Nearly 60% of the people that the Innocent Project has helped to free or exonerate since 1992 are Black.
Mm-hmm. We make up 49% of the wrongful convictions since 1989, but 60% of what's been overturned are Black. That tells you that number one, they're not doing the proper policing. Number two, they're trying to find somebody. A lot of times people are falsely accusing Black people. Now let me go back also to these white tears. Look at this they call her Soho Karen. Maya Ponsetto went viral a couple of years ago. Remember when she went up to that kid and she said that he stole her cell phone, and she started harassing him, and she grabbed him, she put her hands on him, and she accidentally left it in the Uber by mistake. Her dad lit him up. His dad lit her up, and she was accusing him, and it turns out it wasn't even true. But you automatically, let's blame the Black guy. And then this one, Sherry Papini, she went missing for 3 weeks for the holiday season. She was found after running into a California interstate and being picked up by a passenger driving. She claimed she was abducted out by 2 Hispanic women. She lied. In 2017, Harmon ran into a church half naked. She basically said that she was hunted down, or she was kidnapped by Black men. Eventually, they discovered the abduction and rape were staged. This lady said a little Black boy groped her, and basically what happened was she accused him of groping her. Then they looked at the cameras, and basically he passed her by, a 9-year-old, and his backpack rubbed up against her. But these are the kinds of things that would happen over the years that would get Black people killed. And I'm sorry, like, do you remember what's that little Black boy's name? I think he was 13. He was the youngest kid to get electrocuted.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I forgot his name. This was years ago, though.
Yeah, this was like in the 1930s. I think he was like 11 or 12. He got electrocuted, and he just kept saying that they said his little body wasn't even big enough to fit in the chair. And that the thing that they would put on their head it wouldn't even fit, and he just was screaming for his mama.
His name was George Junius Stinney Jr., and he was electrocuted in 1944, thus becoming the youngest American with the exact birth date confirmed to be sentenced to death and executed in the 20th century. And he was from Pinewood, South Carolina.
That's disgusting.
The lady, I don't remember her name, but the Karen lady that with the phone situation. I remember watching that, and one thing that made me happy, father. And this is one thing that I think changes a lot as it relates to the self-esteem of our children, is that a lot of times when a white person or a teacher or whatever says, your child did this, the parent says, well, why did you do it? Versus understanding that maybe their child didn't, and being able to have that conversation with their child and knowing their child and knowing their child did or didn't do it. So I appreciate the fact that the father looked out for his son. Now I'm gonna tell you that actually recently happened to my brother and nephew. They had to sit down and have a meeting, a school meeting, and they were going in on my nephew and how she's reading this off of a paper. Kingston had a attitude problem. He threw things. He did this, that, and the third. Blah 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 blah. And my brother is looking at my nephew like, what? And she's like, yes. And in the 4th grade, blah blah blah. He is in high school now. He is in high school. My nephew is in the 11th grade, and you are bringing something up that happened in the 4th grade, sir, ma'am. My brother lit that teacher up and is like, you do know that he can hear you. So you're saying these negative things about this boy in his face. So the fact that he knew that his father had his back, and he's like, ever since then, he's been doing even better in school. And my nephew's been doing very well in school. And he's doing even better now because he's like, my dad has my back. So to know that you have a parent that is like, I'm going to still discipline you if you do wrong. But if you're doing the right thing and you are not doing the wrong thing, I'm going to always have your back. And if you communicate with me as your parent and let me know when you do the wrong thing, I will still have your back.
Kyle knows I ride for mine. Kyle, you know, what would I do?
But you got to put that shotgun down, Constance. You can't be riding shotgun.
Listen, I have to make sure because as especially with my boys, with black boys, the conspiracy,
Jufu,
who, what's his name?
Jufu, I can't pronounce the man's name. The
The
conspiracy to kill
conspiracy,
black boys.
yes, to destroy black boys. These teachers, you have to let them know because if you don't let them know that you are involved, that you know what's going on, that you see what's going on, they are going to overlook your child. They're going to have less tolerance for your child. They're going to treat your child any old kind of way. They have to know that their parents are going to advocate for them. I'm the biggest proponent of advocating for my children. I will ride for my children every single time. Now, a lot of times they right, sometimes they wrong. I've gone there and I'm ready, and then I had to look at them like, for real, you really was acting up. But I was always there, and they knew that these are the ones, these four right here, these four that belong to me. This is what you're not gonna do, and they made sure that they treated my kids accordingly because they knew that I was involved. All they got to do is see you one time, maybe two times, and they're gonna treat your kids right.
That's true because they see that you're actively in their child's life. Now, I think that that's one thing that's missing because in the school system, for example, another solution: go to your children's school. What are your teachers' names? Understand. Make sure that your teacher that teacher can see the whites of your eyes. Because if you put fear in them to let them know, listen, I'm gonna do what's right for my child. I want my child to have the right things done by them.
So, I like what Angie said. She said, yes, ma'am, but we have to stop calling our boys so much. You're absolutely right. So I'm a mother. I'm a single mother, unfortunately. And so I'm not a mask. I'm not their dad. So I'm definitely very cognizant of, how I'm sending them out there in the world and, trying to have that balance. Unfortunately, maybe I don't always have that balance because I am a mother and I can't be a father. But, I'm doing the best I can in terms of how I deal with my kids and how I'm trying to send them out in the world and prepare them because we have those conversations in my house, have those conversations with how you interact with the police. Because here's what I know. This is so important. What I know for sure is I don't care if my kids have their pants pulled up to their chests. I don't care if they look like little Poindexter, Steve Urkels. This black skin is a threat, no matter what they look like. This black skin is a threat. And I'm not trying to put the fear in them. I'm trying to make them aware because when they walk out these doors, this world is not going to be as forgiving to them as a little white buddy that they're hanging out with. You don't have the same kind of privilege as your white buddy, so you have to act accordingly. We have those conversations. It's real conversation that you have to have with your black kids that white people just don't have to have with them. And it's interesting for you, Emma, because you have one son that looks white and one son that looks Hispanic. So how did you deal with both of them and how they dealt in the world? How was that for you?
Well, I talked to them the same as far as how they should. I bought a book for each of them. How should a boy act when the police stops him? There was an actual little pamphlet that parents were buying. And so that they would not get killed or hurt, I trained them that way. We tried in our homes. Yes, we did black talk, but we didn't do racist talk like you should hate all black people and all of that. We tried to have an impact in the home that was spiritual and that they didn't become the thing that we hate. Never become the thing that you hate.
Right.
So I will tell you this. There were 3 generations of blacks living in our house. Ricky's, my husband's mother, Ricky and I, and my children. Ricky's mother was born in 1898.
Oh, wow.
She referred to herself as colored.
Mm-hmm.
We came from the other generation. We were Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
And my children were black.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that each one of those labels created a different perspective of who you were as a black. My mother-in-law colored. She was obedient. She had that mad respect. You didn't say anything. She was much more subservient because she came up in the time when they killed us and hung us. She saw it. Ricky and I came along when the Black Panthers came along. And of course, we were scared of them. But we came along with Brown versus the Board of Education, 1964. We came along when the civil rights movement was happening. I saw Martin Luther King. I saw Malcolm X. I saw these people. They were not in the history book then. They were in our lives then. We saw them on TV. Yet my children came up different, and they talked and they act different because they were more aware of their own Blackness and the pride that they could have in it. So when you live with that, it gives you a perspective. We can't be calling ourselves the N-word because that goes, I mean, we might do it jokingly, but that's a serious word. That's a serious word. And now we're African Americans. I'm not sure how that, I guess it goes, but we've had different titles, and every label meant a different point in the Black journey in America.
But I think that that's what keeps us confused. And I think that's no. I'm so serious. I think that if you look at everywhere else, they don't have a change in their title, right? They are who they are, and they're from the country that they're from, and that's it. It's just period.
We are people who have no country.
Okay, I'm not a color because if you look at me, I'm not Black, right? I'm just making it make sense. And saying that you're Negro and saying that you're African American and saying that you're colored, and then saying that whatever, like all of these different titles are all different. So you have a different mindset. You don't know who you are. We need to. I think that's what keeps us confused, and I think it's by design.
In what way?
As you say, coddle, and I agree. We shouldn't coddle. I know we already talked about that. Coddle, do not coddle, but have their back. I just wanted to put that out there. Make sure you have your children's back, because so many children do not have parents that have their back. Sorry, you were saying.
Before you say that, Emma, I want to make sure that you guys are subscribing to the Fly Nubian Queen. I want to make sure that you are subscribing to my YouTube page, which is CC the CEO, youtube.com/CC the CEO. Where can they find you, April, Dr. Emma, and Kyle? Where can they find you? How can they follow you?
I'm on YouTube, but I'm outdated. I'm untubed.
Not for long, Miss Emma. What about you, April? How can they follow you?
You can follow me at Ugly Girl Talk on YouTube. Ugly Girl Talk.
What about you, Kai?
And you can follow me on Instagram. I don't do YouTube. Actually, I do YouTube at Kai Twice. And Instagram is Kai Twice as well. And I also sell hair at In Hair We Trust. So follow me there as well.
Hey, entrepreneur. Yes. So let's get back to the conversation, because I think this is very poignant what you were saying. And Dr. Emma, you had something that you were going to add. You don't remember?
I'm trying to figure out, am I colored? Am I Negro? Am I Black tonight? Well, I'm Black tonight. So
yes.
April said it's not a color. So I had to fight to convince white people that I was Black.
Mm-hmm.
And I got confused by that till I realized Black is an inside thing, because we come from cinnamon to ebony. We come from vanilla to deep dark chocolate. It's got to be we can't associate it with our skin. We have to have that soul.
You are a queen. That's what you are. So when people say, who are you? I'm a queen. Period. That's it. You know what I mean?
I could be Queen Elizabeth.
No. See, Queen Elizabeth, no. You are a queen.
There comes a time when you have to own. You want to establish your identity out there.
I agree. And I think we should. I think that the fact that we have had so many different titles over the last however many years, and you just said it, 3 generations, right? 3 generations, and we are looked at in 3 different ways. Yep. No white people have that situation, not one, right?
We are the most complicated race.
Huh?
We're the most complicated race, but it's systematically complicated. Like like from just generations, like we just trauma on trauma on trauma. That's why, like, we all
I am that I am.
The trauma and the drama. And
it's part of being Black in America.
And I agree with that. I agree. It is a part of being Black in America. I think that what also needs to happen is that we choose who we are. You know what I mean? And I think that that's where the problem lies. We've allowed someone else to tell us who we are.
Right.
That's my problem. You can't tell me who I am. Only I can tell me who I am. And only my people who have gone through what we have gone through can tell us who we are. You don't tell me. You don't tell me I'm Black. You don't tell me I'm African American. You don't tell me I'm Negro. You don't tell me I'm colored. You don't tell me. We should say who we are. All of a sudden it's you're this, and we're like, you know what? I guess that's who I am. That's what our problem is. We accept what has been given to us as opposed to saying, hold on, let me ask some questions about this.
But that's also generational as well. You know, like from slavery, we had no other choice but to accept the beating, accept the trauma, accept all of that. So us as Black people, the reason why we're so accepting to this, we weren't taught, like we weren't taught to fight back. We weren't taught to, we were always just been, you know, of course we had like the rebellions, like the Black Panther, Martin Luther King, all that type of stuff. But they try to shut us up by, as soon as somebody speak out, they dead. Everybody did. Everybody in the Black Panther Party, they dead. Everybody, Martin Luther King, they dead. As soon as we try to step out and speak out, they try to, you know, quiet us.
Where I agree with that, I do. But if it was something else, and I'm just using it as an example, you go to work every day, and if your boss says, well, you know what, your new title moving forward is asshole. This is my asshole. And this is what my asshole does every day. You're not going to accept that. No, my title is executive whatever.
Executive asshole. Just asshole. I'm an executive asshole.
April, in fairness to our ancestors, and we stand on their shoulder, each of those titles represented where Black people were in the journey of finding themselves.
No. Because if you go back, and if you were to ask someone who still maybe identifies as colored, or as colored,
probably not alive anymore.
But I'm just saying, if you were to ask them, did you choose to be called colored? Did someone say?
To be honest with you, y'all, I think this conversation is so irrelevant. What we call ourselves, I think. I do. The reason why I do, my opinion.
Okay.
But the reason why I believe that is because, like you said, it's our journey through this country. We have to now stand on the pride of who we are. We do stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. They did have to do a lot to fight to get here. And yeah, regardless if they called us colored and we accepted it, and they called us Negroes and we accepted it, they call us Black, whatever, it doesn't even matter, because at the end of the day, I'm proud of the people who came before me, whatever they called. And so if I'm called an African American, an Afro American, a Black American, an African in America, whatever they call me, I don't give a damn, because I am who I am. But I tell you what, I love Black people, period. I love us in all shades. And I want the best for us, because there are things that are coming at us from all different directions. And if we argue and if we discuss the minor things, then we're not going to be able to really address the major things that are impacting our community.
But here's the thing, that's not minor. And I'll tell you why that's not minor. It's the same exact thing as we're looking at when we're talking about what we listen to, right? Somebody is telling us that this is who we listen to. Somebody is telling us that this is how your hair should be. Someone is telling us, because you know, if you look at the average Black woman, right, who got the big booty and the big hips, she's considered morbidly obese, even though she got a nice shape or whatever. Because she's shaped like a Black woman, she's fat or she's this. Everything, you go down the list of anything that identifies you as being quote unquote Black, somebody else is telling you that that's who you are.
Here's the thing about that, though. We got to take our power back. Who gives a fuck?
But that's my point.
Black people are telling us about ourselves. Who
right? You can't tell
who we are. My thing is, we have to start being unified as a people. Start looking out for each other.
Okay.
Collective economics. Build our communities. Whatever you decide to call yourself, if you a Hotep, if you colored, if you a Negro, whatever, we got to love ourselves and our melanated skin, and we got to start doing for us, because at the end of the day, when you look at statistically, education, we're on the bottom of the totem pole. Money, we're on the bottom of the totem pole. Crime, we at the top of the totem pole. So we got bigger fish to fry. As what do they call us? And they call us that. They saying we morbidly obese. No, what are we saying about ourselves as people? I stand on who we are as a people and what we can do to come together so that we can build our communities.
Your point is valid, and I get it. You're like, this is irrelevant. The reason I'm saying that it is relevant is because how you look at yourself, we are always looking at ourselves the way somebody else is telling us to look at ourselves. That's the point I'm making. It doesn't matter who calls what. My point is that we are sitting here telling we're telling ourselves that we are who they say we are. Mm-hmm. That's my problem. And so that's the mindset that I'm saying that we need to change.
And I'm just saying we need to take our power back, whatever it is. And I'm saying that should not be a division for us, right? So if it's the semantics that are causing division amongst our community, get rid of the fucking semantics. Let's figure out what unifies us rather than what separates us as a race. But I love this discussion because we are all from different times, different ages, and we all have different perspectives and opinions, and that's okay. We don't have to all think the same, and that's the whole point of us all being able to have this dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Somebody put in the chat that her grandmother was colored, and she didn't like when they changed it to Black.
Yeah, mine too.
In my day,
being Black
if somebody called you Black, that was a fighting word. That was a denigrate to be called Black. When James Brown said, "I'm Black and I'm proud," that I was never much of a follower of pop music, but when he did that, you know how many people got proud because he made Black a thing to be proud of, rather than to be like, you call me Black, you call me Black. That was an insult. Now that wouldn't insult anybody.
And all I'm saying is that let's find what unifies us as a people. But check this out. I want you guys just, for briefly, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But Kyle, do you have some, I want to give you guys an opportunity to have, some final words for us.
No, I do believe like this conversation was definitely like insightful. And I do agree. I also agree that the conversation definitely goes from, because I remember earlier you were talking about solution. I feel like our solution definitely should start in our households. Like, the music and stuff like that, but also how we treat each other. The kids look at how their parents treat them. And if their parents treat, let's say you have a girl and a boy, if the parents see that you treat the girl and the boy differently, then it goes to like, the real world. They see how like everything else would treat them differently as well. Like, that divinity, or not divinity, but that division. I feel like it just all starts in the household, and what you teach your kids and what you allow them to like listen to and what you instill in them is very important. And then you can pass on that love and stuff on to like, your school and things like that, the real world. So yeah.
Wow.
All right, April.
What I would love to leave everybody with is choose where you put your money. I'm sorry, but that's always been a big thing, as I have been in banking for 22 years and I watch how different groups of people spend their money and how they use it, where they put it, and how they're advancing in more ways than we are, mainly because of where they're choosing to put their money. And I'll also say that a lot of times the reason that we're treated the way that we are is because people want to be us. Ooh. So put your crown on and understand that you are kings and queens, and live in that.
I love it. Dr. Emma?
Well, something came to me, and I'm going to say it. So when I would go places, go into a store, something, and the people would be rude to me, I would say, oh, they did that just because I'm Black. And then I realized they didn't know that. I knew that. And now that's weird. I knew that because I was living that Black life. They didn't know that. So the institutionalized racism even convinced me when it wasn't even happening. So we can become paranoid. And that is the honest to God truth. So my solution is we have to tackle the pollution one household at a time, one community at a time, and never become the thing you hate. Let's do this thing in love, on purpose, but do it in love.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say I'm so grateful for these ladies and their perspectives, because I think we all listen. I come from California. My daughter is from California. April is from DC, and Miss Emma is from New York. So we all come from different places in the country, and we all have very different experiences and unique perspectives. And I love that. I love the fact that we don't all agree on everything. I love that. I love that we have our own opinions and we are able to speak freely. My goal in life is that we get to a place where Black people are thriving, and whatever contribution I'm able to make, I just want to give it to people who look like me, because we are in a position where we're left behind. We're the least. We've gotten taken advantage of, systematic racism, redlining, predatory lending, all of the things that have put us in this position. Yet we are a resilient people, because we're still thriving regardless of everything that was put in our way. But we still have so much further to go. And I love us for that. I love us. So whatever I can do to further our race. And Dr. George Fraser, one of my mentors, actually Dr. Emma Fraser's brother, but he called me a race woman. I was like, well, what's a race woman? I had to go Google what a race woman was, right? And so a race woman is a woman who is about her race. And I believe in putting Black people first, and not in a way where I'm putting anybody else last. It's kind of like Black Lives Matter. We matter too. And we need more help. And my focus is on helping people who look like me, because we needed help. When I started my business, it was really in trying to create, just trying to fill a need of the things that were lacking. And because there was this huge lacking because of systemic issues, I was able to become successful. I just want to help us be us. I just want to see us win. And so that's what this is about. That's what these dialogues and discussions are about. How can we win together? What can we do to move our race forward? I love us for that. And before we go, really quick, all four of us are part of the Net 7 Collective. And It's so cool. And I love it. And I love my sisters. I want to give you guys a moment just to kind of talk about what your experience has been like in the group.
What do you want to say?
Go ahead, Emma.
It's been like a coming home for my soul to be in that group. It electrifies me. I get off the call and I feel like I've been released, and I have unlimited power now. And because I am probably the oldest woman on the call, what I'm learning from these young women is it's like somebody gives me an intellectual transfusion every Wednesday night.
Oh. Come through with the intellectual.
Intellectual transfusion. April, would you like to share?
Listen, I don't know if I can go after that, but I'll say this. The women who are a part of this group add so much value, right? Constance is not only allowing us to gather information from her, but we're also gathering information from each other. Nobody feels like they're the most intelligent in the room.
Right.
Everybody is able to learn from one another. She also has amazing speakers that will come in and add additional value, which you're thinking there's value overload. Like, how can I get so much value in one in one event? And every single time it's magical. So if you are able to join, I will say join. If gentlemen who are watching, if you have an amazing woman in your life, please help her to join, because it will not only add value to her, it'll add value to you. And it's a way for you to help to build generational wealth. So please do that. Oh, and Christmas is coming. Hold on, pause. I'm sorry. Christmas is coming. So for those of you who celebrate the holiday, please make sure that you purchase one for a family member who you feel needs to have value added. Look at God.
Look at God.
Right. Look at God.
What about you, Kylie Carter?
I'll say this because I also am my mom's assistant, and I oversee the Net 7 Collective. So I see like the emails, and I follow up with people who are interested in things like that. And I remember one person told me that she's a part of another sister circle right now, so she can't. It ain't just a regular sister circle. I'm letting you know right now. It ain't just like one of those regular sister circles where you kumbaya, meditate. Oh yeah, we love each other. Bye. No. Okay, there's some meditation, all that type of stuff in there, but when there's people like, and I'm only 24 years old, so for people my age all the way to Dr. Emma's age, where we can like all learn from each other and feedback off one another and just learn, and like it's just a lot more than just a regular old sister circle. You like it makes you feel like things are like possible, no matter what age. Like she puts these speakers in place to talk to us about how to make money, how to do things in real estate, from even making monies in ways that you never even knew how to make money type thing. Like it really, like, it's a really a transformational, I feel like, thing. And I'm not just saying that because she's my mother.
Wait, can I add one more thing though? Because y'all know that I love talking about money. And Kyle was talking about a lot of money. I was talking about a lot of money, and I'll say the fellowship is so much more because you end up with a partner, so an accountability partner, and your accountability partner builds you up every time. You all build each other up every single day. So it's not just whenever you're meeting those weekly meetings. It's a touch point every day. We're also in another group together, and we're sending messages to each other all day, every day. And it's all like right now, I'm just putting this out there. We're doing a cleanse. So I don't know, everybody's not doing the cleanse, but some of us are doing a cleanse. So we're not just looking at how our minds can be, how we can build on our minds. We're not just looking at how we can build our wallets. We're looking how we can get rid of our waistlines. I'm just putting that out there. So,
and transformation is a holistic experience, and so it's very important that we're intentional about that. When we go about it, we're not just feeding our mind. We're not just trying to get the money, but we're doing our spirit. We're doing our bodies. We're priming our minds and getting it prepared, because we are going to receive the monetary. That's the easy part. Get money. I'm telling y'all, money is not hard to do, but priming your mind and getting yourself prepared to get that money so that you can keep that money, so it can be multi-generational money. That's a whole different ball game. And so that's what it is that we're doing. But I love these ladies for real. I love Black people for real. And basically the Net 7 is basically, I created something that I needed for myself. I needed like-minded women who were forward thinking and forward moving and who were inspirational and motivational, because it's not about Constance Carter at all. It is not about me. I happen to be the keeper of the synergy of the space, and I lead some of the things, I lead some of the meetings, but it's all about us as a collective. And that's the thing that I think is beautiful. I don't have the ego that it got to be about me. I allow everybody to walk in their power, and everybody, it doesn't matter if you're 24 years old like Kyle, or if you're the same age as Dr. Emma, everybody's what they have, everybody's contribution is valuable. And that's what's so special, I think, about it.
So, Constance, could you give them the name of this group?
It is called the Net 7 Collective. And you know what? If you want to, the second, the third cohort is coming up at the end of the month, beginning of December. And if you are interested in booking a call with me, go to bookwithconstance.com and I can interview you for the Net 7 Collective. I sure appreciate that, Emma. But listen, we're going to be coming here what's today, Tuesday?
Give them the name of this show.
This is Generational Wealth, and we're going to be talking about things that are generationally wealthy to you, things that can relate to you. The topics are going to range from everything. And I actually have an idea of what I want to talk about based upon next week, based upon what we talked about tonight. So it's going to be fun, and it's just going to get gooder and gooder and gooder. So
that's a word, y'all. That's a word. I looked it up.
Word, gooder and gooder. Word. I appreciate y'all hanging with us, and you guys gonna see us again next Tuesday. We love you. We love you.